Hi, I'm Albert and welcome to Allow Signal. This episode I look at Pixel's 4K 144Hz monitor. I've actually been waiting for a long time to do a review of an actual 4K 144Hz monitor, and I can't wait to show you Pixel's upcoming offering. Let's find out more. So let's dig into the features of this monitor. It's a 27-inch screen with a 4K resolution of 3840 by 2160. The monitor uses LG's IPS panel. As for the color coverage, this panel has 100% sRGB, 97% DCI-P3, and 87% Adobe RGB. It's excellent for video editing, gaming, and media consumption. It's also rated for HDR400 with 144 Hz refresh rate and 1 millisecond response time. So the current price of the monitor is $949 from Pixel's website. Who is it intended for? So let's find out. To be clear, this monitor is top tier in terms of resolution and response time. As for the type of gamers, it's targeted at both speed gamers who can take advantage of the extremely fast response times and mixed gamers who love high resolution without sacrificing response time. So what about comfortable viewing distance? I found it's about 52 cm, and that's great if you're like me who like to be close to the monitor when you game. So let's move on to see how I tested this monitor. First, let's see what the review unit came with. As this is a pre-production run, I didn't get the fancy retail packaging. But don't you worry, you'll be getting a much nicer looking box lah. Inside the box, I found the manual, the power brick, adjustable stand, and the display port 1.4 cable. The monitor without the stand is 5.9 kg, and with the stand is 8.1 kg. So next, let me look at the stand. The stand's build quality is very solid, and it fits into a standard 100 by 100 Vesa mount. Do note that the mount is slightly indented, so it may have minor mounting issues. I can mount it on my monitor arms, but I could only tighten it to about 85% instead of 100%. Your mileage may vary on which monitor arm you use. Note that the stand will allow you to tilt the monitor up or down 15 degrees, but it cannot turn left, cannot turn right. The monitor can go as low as touching the base or back up to its maximum height of 14.5 cm from the table. There's no wobble when typing or gaming. Next, I'll show you the monitor setup. First, I tested the monitor with the stand, and after testing, I mounted the monitor onto my monitor arm. As for distance, I set about 54 cm away from the screen when individual pixels are no longer visible to me. If you're wondering what's the reason why I set at that distance, here's the chart for recommended distance. I've included the links below for those who want to calculate the distances for their own monitor if it's not on this list. You'll notice that the Pixel U280 Pro is about 163 pixels per inch, and the recommended distance is at least 52 cm away. Now that you know, let me move on to color and HDR. So, in terms of color accuracy and HDR, this monitor is suitable for speed and mixed gamers. Visual gamers may prefer a VA panel or another panel that has wider color gamut, especially if you need to handle Adobe RGB. The monitor is rated for 100% sRGB, 97% DCI-P3, and 87% Adobe RGB. Out of the box, I noticed a visible yellow tint to the screen. After calibrating it manually to my preferences, it still retained a minor yellow tint, especially with HDR enabled. The monitor accepts a 10-bit signal at 144 Hz with a single DisplayPort 1.4 cable because it supports display stream compression. It's rated for HDR400, and in Windows I found it has a peak brightness of 417 nits. So for HDR consumption, without a full local array dimming or OLED panel, don't expect a good experience. Now let's move on to refresh rate and response time. Default refresh rate is 144 Hz, and it comes with a manual overdrive that you can set between 0 and 100. What I'm showing on the screen here is the monitor set at 144 Hz with the overdrive setting of 63. As you can see, it has excellent clarity and few artifacts such as ghosting and inverse ghosting. It's important to note that this monitor supports variable refresh rate and the variable overdrive mode is suitable between 48Hz to 144Hz. So let's move on to system latency. To test system latency, I'm using CSGO on my test system with a 5600X and 32GB of 3600 MHz RAM and a 3080 GPU. I've also tested a 144Hz monitor and a 165Hz monitor to compare the response time. Next, I'll go through the graphics settings I use. For my graphics settings, G-Sync is enabled across all displays, as well as low latency mode on Ultra. I've also switched V-Sync on Fast. This means the games will render an unlocked frame rate to reduce latency and only implement V-Sync if the frame rate drops below the monitor refresh rate. Do note there's been an update to the shader cache size since the last review. I have left the driver on default, which is the on state. Next up is the device I'm using to record the latency. To record the screen latency, I'm using Samsung's S21 Ultra's Super Slow-Mo to record 1 second of footage at 960 frames per second. For each attempt, I record about 50 results, and in the example here, I average all 50 results to get about 75 frames. Then I'll multiply it by 1.04 milliseconds, and that will give you the average frame time, which is 78 milliseconds. Now you know how I calculate my test results, let's move on to the control test. I'm starting with a 1080p 144Hz 1 millisecond response time monitor from Armaggeddon. Yes, it's also another local brand monitor that I own. The average of 50 results is 25 frames, which I multiply by 1.04 to get the system latency of 26 milliseconds. That looks like an expected result. So let's see how a 165Hz monitor performs. For the 165Hz monitor from my previous review, the average of 50 results is 12.6 frames, which I multiply by 1.04 to get 13.1 milliseconds. What do you think the latency will be like for the 4K 144Hz monitor? Better or worse? Let's find out. For the Pixle U280 Pro 4K 144Hz monitor that I tested, the average is 5.4 frames, which I multiply by 1.04 to get 5.62 milliseconds. If you compare it to the NVIDIA's Reflex website, the result is actually faster than a 360Hz monitor. Now at this point, I retested it 2 more times to confirm this. I'm a skeptic by nature, so I even called up the brand to verify. It looks like the performance is to be expected. But please note that this sample is from a pre-production run, so your unit may vary. Perhaps we can compare this to a 240Hz monitor from another reviewer. Because I don't have a 240Hz monitor on hand, here's a comparison from Hardware Unbox DLSS video, where they used a 240Hz monitor. They recorded the system latency between 11.9 to 12.2 milliseconds at 240Hz. Oh yeah, bo! That means, is this for real? So let's go to the conclusion now. Welcome to the TLDR. In conclusion, I'll say that yes, we have a new 4K champion for 2021. Pixel's U280 Pro is actually the best 4K 144Hz monitor I've seen thus far, and for the price it's launching at. This monitor's color coverage is excellent for content creation and gaming. And while its HDR experience is basic, 4K HDR displays in the market, there's only LG's OLED TV for around 2000 SGD, or Asus 32UQX, which is around $4,000 SGD, and neither of them make any sense to me. And what truly stands out for this monitor is the ridiculously good response time that's faster than anything I've ever seen. So this monitor truly raises the bar for gamers, and that's quite the statement that Pixel is making. So if you think that you're ready for an upgrade this Christmas, you can click on the link below or use my promo code when you check out to get an additional discount off the promotional price for this next-gen performance that you can get today. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. And for those of you who are interested, check out episode 1, where I compare the best 4K 144Hz monitor. Or you can check out episode 3, where I give some useful tips on selecting your monitor. Thank you, and I will see you in another video soon. Bye bye!